Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Hoonko service. Before I get started, a couple things. One is I want to thank the choir for coming out. Every time they come out, they are a special part of our service that enhances the service. And I know that they work very hard for all of us to entertain us. So if you could please give them another round of applause. Okay. For some of you, you may be surprised that I don't look like Reverend Akahoshi. And unfortunately, we received an email from Reverend Akahoshi, Reverend Kenji Akahoshi from the San Diego Buddhist Temple. And in the email, he indicated that he would not be able to join us today. And what he was facing is probably one of the greatest crises that a human being can face. And unfortunately, Reverend Akahoshi lost his son 2 days ago on Friday. And so our heartfelt and warmest and best wishes go out to Reverend Akahoshi and his son. And Reverend Akahoshi says to say hello, and he apologizes for not being here. But, hopefully in time, possibly next year, Reverend Akahoshi will be able to come up north and visit us maybe during one of the special services. So we can only hope for the best for him and his family right now. And today, I'm here because Reverend Matt and Michelle are in Japan. Reverend Marvin Harada is, I believe, back at the Orange County Buddhist Church. And it was a little bit too late to get someone, another minister, to take Reverend Akahoshi's place. So you have me. No, I didn't say that to get an applause. I just felt sorry for all of you. But anyways, I will go on. Today's Hoonko service is considered the most important service for Jodo Shinshu followers, and is in memory of the founder of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, Shinran Shonin. Born in 1173, Shinran lived for 90 years and died in 1263, 755 years ago. And after his death, Kakushini, his daughter, established a mausoleum in her father's honor in Kyoto. Since that time, followers gathered each year for a memorial service to pay homage to Shinran. And during the 33rd year memorial service in the year 1296, Kakunyo Shonin, the great-grandson of Shinran and the third spiritual leader of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, created a formal memorial service named Hoonko for his great-grandfather. Kakunyo composed Hoonko Shiki to praise the virtues of Shinran and establish the ritual procedures for this service. Within the word Hoonko, Hoon, H-O-O-N, means return of gratitude, and Ko, K-O, means gathering. Hoonko service is then translated to mean coming together to express gratitude in memory of Shinran Shonin. For today's service, I think it is appropriate to briefly talk about Shinran's life, say in the Reader's Digest version, if you will, and then go on to talk about the basic teaching of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, which I believe, that is the reason why you come here every Sunday for Sunday service. During Shinran's 90 years of life, he would be named Matsuwa Kamaru, Hanen, Shaku, Zenshin, and finally Shinran. To eliminate any confusion, I will just say Shinran from this point on. And after the death of his parents at the age of 9, Shinran was sent to Mount Hiei to become a monk at the Tendai School of Buddhism. He spent 20 years of frustration and disillusionment trying to achieve enlightenment through monastic practices. Trying to achieve enlightenment, being a monk. And at the age of 29, Shinran left Mount Hiei and stayed 100 days at the Rokaku-do Temple. On the 95th day, Shinran experienced a dream whereby Prince Shotoku Taishi, the father of Buddhism in Japan, came to him to reveal the path to enlightenment. And for those of you sitting on the left side of the Onaijin, if you look directly into the corner here, you'll see a scroll, and it's a picture of Prince Shotoku Taishi, the father of Japanese Buddhism. Shinran became a disciple of Honen, who preached the Pure Land teaching, whereby one only had to recite the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, in order to ensure birth in the Pure Land. Due to the simplicity of this teaching, other Buddhist schools felt threatened by the popularity of Honen's Pure Land teaching. And as a result, this teaching was banned, and both Honen and Shinran were exiled. Shinran was exiled to Echigo, near the Sea of Japan, and would never again see Honen after only 6 years together. During his time in Echigo, Shinran developed Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, or the start of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, which means the true essence of Pure Land teaching. After 4 years in exile, Shinran was pardoned by the government. 3 years later, Shinran moved to the Kanto area near present-day Tokyo. And during the next 21 years, Shinran authored his most important work, and I believe some of you have heard the word Kyogyo Shinsho, translated to mean the true teaching, practice, faith, and attachment of the Pure Land. Kyogyo Shinsho consists of Pure Land teachings from the historical Shakyamuni Buddha from India and the 7 Pure Land masters from India, China, and Japan, including Shinran's teacher Honen. And for those of you on the right side of the Onaijin, if you look diagonally to your left, to the last scroll, hopefully you'll see 7 figures. Those are the 7 masters. This work is so detailed that my 2-set volume has approximately 1,000 pages with printed words 1/8 of an inch tall. So it's hard to read. And at age 63, Shinran moved to Kyoto, his final stop, and authored various wasans, or hymns, which are a collection of verses summarizing Shinran's teachings. So revered was Shinran that during the Meiji period, approximately 600 years after his death, Shinran was posthumously given the title Kenshin Daishi. And if you look straight ahead upwards, you'll see kanji writing, and that represents Kenshin Daishi, which means the seer of truth. And that, in a nutshell, is the life of Shinran Shonin. And what I admired about Shinran was he never thought of himself as special. He considered himself a common man who possessed limited abilities. He challenged the religious elites by opening the gates of the Pure Land teaching to the masses, men, women, noble persons, samurais, fishermen, merchants, rich and poor, outcast, uneducated, and the destitute. In defiance of Buddhist monastic traditions, Shinran married his wife Eshini, and together they had 7 children. He just considered himself simply a disciple of Amida Buddha and a fellow practicer of Buddhism, not a religious leader. As I mentioned, Shinran believed in Amida Buddha. And for those of you unfamiliar with the story of Amida Buddha, Amida was originally a king who renounced his kingdom and throne when he heard the Buddha Lokasvataraja spreading the Dharma. Upon hearing the Dharma, this king became Bodhisattva Dharmakara. And Bodhisattva means seeker of the truth. Bodhisattva Dharmakara aspired to become a Buddha and achieve supreme enlightenment. After Lokasvataraja explained the requirements of becoming Buddha, Dharmakara declared 48 vows to be performed before Lokasvataraja, and after completing all 48 vows, Dharmakara became Amida Buddha and created his Pure Land. And of the 48 vows completed by Amida Buddha, Shinran based his Jodo Shinshu Buddhism on Amida's 18th vow, more popularly known as the Primal Vow. The words of the Primal Vow were Shinran's inspiration to finding his path, and of course our path, to the enlightenment in the Pure Land. And the Primal Vow in part reads as follows: If, when I, Amida Buddha, attain Buddhahood, the sentient beings of the 10 quarters, when sincere in entrusting themselves, aspiring to be born in my land, and saying my name perhaps even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain the supreme enlightenment. And I read that. I don't know how many times I read that. Should not be born there, may I not attain supreme enlightenment. So in order for this simple mind to understand those words and what they really meant, I had to rephrase the words so that I can understand it to mean, since I have attained Buddhahood, all sentient beings with sincere mind, saying my name, and who are aspiring to be born in my land, will be born in the Pure Land. But you know, the most important question for me was, how does Amida Buddha's primal vow work for our benefit? According to Shinran, Amida's primal vow will take hold of our hearts and our minds through the boundless energy of love and compassion, energy Amida sends our way when we say Namo Amida Butsu, which contains all the essentials needed to liberate us from our suffering. Fine. But, you know, the kicker is, in order to receive Amida's love and compassion, Jodo Shinshu Buddhists must first truly accept and believe in Shinran's concept of Shinjin. And I know some of you are aware of the word Shinjin, which is the core teaching of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. The word Shinjin is composed of 2 Chinese characters that represent 1, entrusting or trust, and 2, heart and mind. Shinran taught when we truly entrust or give ourselves to Shinjin with our open hearts and minds, we are assured, without any doubts or hesitation, that Amida Buddha's aspiration to free us from our suffering is absolutely guaranteed. Or, in other words, by our receiving, listening, accepting, and appreciating Amida's calling to us through our chanting of Namo Amida Butsu, our birth into Pure Land will happen. And that is why we say Namo Amida Butsu so many times in our lives. And that's why you say it so many times here during the service. And Shinran felt that during his time in Japan, the 13th century, the world was experiencing the age of Dharma decline, or the age of Mappo, M-A-P-P-O, Mappo, which began around the year 1000, approximately 1,500 years after the death of Shakyamuni Buddha. This Dharma decline is estimated to last 10,000 years. And during this age of Mappo, it is believed that no layperson or monk would be able to attain enlightenment through traditional monastic practices. Attaining enlightenment and being born into Pure Land would only come from listening and accepting the Dharma. Bishop Eric Matsumoto from Hawaii has an interesting point of view to the concept of listening. He says the Japanese word chomon, C-H-O-O-M-O-N, which generally means listening to the Dharma, has a much deeper meaning. Looking more closely at the written characters, the word cho, C-H-O-O, is made of three parts. 1, listening. 2, heal, correct. And 3, heart and mind. So together, all three parts mean when one truly hears or listens, there is a healing or changing of the heart. The word mon is made up of 2 parts, 1 gate and 2 ear. So when you combine cho and mon into chomon, this means coming to the temple to listen to the Dharma or the calling of Amida through Namo Amida Butsu. And Bishop Matsumoto even has a much deeper interpretation of chomon. Chomon means that when we truly listen and hear the calling of Amida Buddha through saying the Nembutsu Namo Amida Butsu, our life will change for the better. A wonderful book entitled Jodo Shinshu, a guide for me, best describes how the teaching of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism impacts our lives as we Jodo Shinshu Buddhists live in this world of suffering. Quote, the Pure Land teaching established by Shinran makes us aware that although we are imperfect beings, and I certainly can attest to being an imperfect being, we are all embraced by the power of Amida's primal vow. With this assurance, we can live in the present with confidence and peace of mind in anticipation of being born in the Pure Land after our death, and thus attain enlightenment. At the same time, the Jodo Shinshu teaching allows us to live our lives to the fullest, making us aware of both our potential and limitation in this world, so that we can understand, accept, and hopefully overcome life's difficulties in order to realize true happiness within our lifetime. The beauty of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism in our religion is that it is so flexible enough to allow each of us to find our own path to true happiness, despite all the mistakes and failures we will encounter. And as I reflect upon true happiness, I ask myself, how is the Buddhist teaching of compassion an important part of true happiness? I have realized compassion allows us to connect and be with each other, helping each other out so that we can evolve as human beings, become better people, in order to live together and survive in this chaotic world. And when our time is near the end, compassion allows us to realize the love and memories we created and shared together, which will stay within the hearts and minds of everyone we have touched and nurtured. For those of us who are fortunate enough to still be living, we must always appreciate the gift of family, friends, and basic human life. So, enjoy your life each and every day. And before I finish, I want to apologize if this Dharma message was a bit too academic, but I felt that Shinran Shoning's memorial service was an appropriate time to bring together all these concepts so that you would have a firmer grip, a firmer grasp, and a greater appreciation of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. You know, worst case scenario, or maybe in some instances, best case scenario, I put you to sleep and you enjoyed a good rest. And that's okay. Anyways, please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.